thank Rebecca Tolstoy AM, Perth Rotary member and chair of the Path of Hope Foundation, for the opportunity to talk to my fellow Rotarians about our club, the Perth Rotary Club, and this amazing project, the Path of Hope Foundation. A little about the Perth Rotary Club first. Perth Rotary Club was the first Rotary Club established in Western Australia and will be celebrating its centennial year in 2026. We attract members from the Central Business District of Perth and beyond, and are an extremely diverse club. We meet for lunch each Friday of the month, with the fourth Friday converting to an after-business drinks, more casual networking affair. The club has an impressive history stretching back to 1926, and as the first WA Rotary Club, has many past projects which we are extremely proud of. Some of these projects are ones like the UWA Medical School, established in 1957 with the support and lobbying effects of members. Passages, a drop-in centre for young people living on the streets, and the Cord Blood Bank, instrumental with other WA Rotary clubs in getting this multi-million-dollar project to fruition in Rotary's centennial year, 2005. Perth Rotary gets involved in larger projects that need a broad input from senior people to make them work. It's about being at the heart of our community and using our experience and our connections to make a real difference for good. Tonight, we are talking about the Path of Hope Foundation and why it is so important for our society to continually raise awareness around family and domestic violence and try to find ways to break the cycle. If your club is looking for a new project that will resonate with younger and older generations alike, provide an opportunity to educate and change behaviours, have a positive impact on the energy levels in your club, create goodwill, engage and interest corporate and business leaders in your community, but most importantly, help those members of our society, the most vulnerable, be heard and to have hope for a better future, this is the project for you. In a broader context, I would like to tell you about the following components of how this project affects our club. As you know, the Rotary Foundation recognises 6 areas of focus: peace and conflict prevention or resolution, disease prevention and treatment, water and sanitation, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, economic and community development. Through this project, the Path of Hope Foundation addresses several of those. For our club, it provides an opportunity for us to engage with business leaders who may or may not be Rotarians, but they are willing and able to provide professional services, legal, medical, counselling, health, beauty, lifestyle, pro bono. I do get a little bit nervous about quoting figures, but I believe that to date, in the vicinity of $9.5 million in volunteer hours has been attributed to this project over a period of approximately 8 years. Let there be no doubt about it. Family domestic violence is the biggest crime against humanity in our time and a scourge on our society. During COVID, our annual Path of Hope Gala Ball, our major fundraiser for the foundation, was cancelled. However, it was deemed so important that our major sponsor, Mrs. Reinhardt, through her companies Hancock Prospecting and Roy Hill, still made available the considerable sponsorship funds to enable the work with Salvation Army and their outreach centre to continue. Our next generation of leaders Through our next generation of leaders, the Path of Hope Foundation has been able to engage with the Curtin University Business School Virtual Work Integrated Learning Program. The students have worked alongside Rebecca and the Path of Hope team, which has enabled direct one-on-one mentorship for these young students in their vocational learning areas. These young students are the Rotarians of the future. It is such an unbelievable opportunity to know that we as Rotarians can have the joy of being able to open up the minds of our young up-and-coming professionals and shape their future aspirations to serve their communities. It is important to note that not everything is about money. During the intern program, the students learn that it's about connecting with their local communities. They learn through volunteering what the issues are in the communities. For example, our young legal interns are the future policy and lawmakers. They learn at a grassroots level how our laws affect those people experiencing family and domestic violence. In the future, as they progress down their career path, these early volunteering and mentoring experiences stay with them and shape our community. It allows the students opportunities to think on their feet within a safe and nurturing environment. When our Path of Hope Foundation Gala Ball was cancelled, the students were able to change tack and find other ways and mediums to continue to raise awareness of family and domestic violence, which, along with fundraising, is one of the prime objectives of the gala. 3, our Rotary Vocational Training Team. In 2019, the Path of Hope Foundation was successful in taking a vocational training team to the United States of America to share about their project and to learn from the experts in the US. They learned more about how vulnerable people who grow up in this family domestic violence environments end up trafficked into the sex industry. They were able to knowledge share with the Vice Department, hospitals, schools, independent refuge, and also visit Salvation Army Refuge and the Salvation Army headquarters in the States. The team was comprised of a police officer, policy analyst, teacher, educator, negotiator, and a Salvation Army officer. The knowledge that they were able to not only share in the US, but bring home to Australia is almost unquantifiable. Along with the contacts made at Rotary and at service industry level, not to mention on a very personal level, the experience and knowledge growth the team members experience themselves. At an international exposure, this work is above politics. It's about working for a better community to live in and raise our children in. However, the Salvation Army, who work at the coalface of family domestic violence, have to work alongside our existing law and policymakers and community leaders. As Rotarians, we can work to raise awareness of the issue and how they may change things for the better. In 2018, Path of Hope Foundation Chair Rebecca Tolstoy presented in front of 76 nations in the main assembly halls of the United Nations, Geneva. Rebecca presented on the impact of collaboration of the Salvation Army, Path of Hope Foundation, and Rotary. Rebecca has been invited to the White House on 3 separate occasions to ensure that family and domestic violence is kept on the agenda for government. At a local level in Western Australia, the Western Australia Attorney General has sought knowledge sharing opportunities with those members of our community who work alongside and within the organisations addressing this issue. The Path of Hope Foundation has been able to contribute to this conversation and influence policy direction so that it is effective for those who need it most. Purpose. The Path of Hope Foundation project has provided our club with a purpose, credibility, and an opportunity to participate in making our community stronger, safer, and happier. However, please don't think that all of the above has to be achieved in the first 6 months or even the first 12 months. Path of Hope Foundation was launched as a Perth Rotary project by the Governor of Western Australia, Mr. Malcolm McCusker AC, in 2013. Prior to the actual launch, many hours of work had already been devoted by the Path of Hope Foundation team in mapping out the pathway forward, devising the correct entities to set the foundation up in consultation with the Salvation Army and the community needs. Perth Rotarians have had opportunities to participate in small fundraisers or simply volunteer their time in simple matters like putting together furniture to be used in the Salvation Army Refuge. We started raising funds via an outdoor movie night or simply listening to guest speakers to better educate ourselves on this issue. Each year, we provide tickets to a New Year's Eve gala concert for the women and children at the refuge. It's about creating positive and happy memories. One of my most treasured memories was taking mothers and children out on the Swan River for a day of ice cream, water and sunshine. The kids were so excited to be on this beautiful boat, as were we. We had chocolate cake, hamburgers, soft drink and ice cream. Dolphins swimming in the river alongside us and a lot of laughter. It was a magical day and created good memories for those mums and their children. And might I add, we didn't lose anyone overboard, which was an achievement. But it was also a privilege. There are many levels of participation, and the Path of Hope business model allows for Rotarians and their clubs to participate and start at a level of involvement that is achievable and comfortable for them. Pride. The reason I personally joined Rotary was because I wanted to make a positive difference in my community. The Path of Hope Foundation enables this to happen on so many levels, and we are so proud of Rebecca and her team to be involved with the foundation. It is a privilege and so exciting to see a wonderful positive model grow. If we as Rotarians focus on what is right in the world and model positive behaviours through our club projects and our interactions with each other, business partners and family, the world can only be a better place. In conclusion, this is a project model that you might consider for your club. Wherever there is a Rotary Club and the Salvation Army, this project model is able to work. The Path of Hope Foundation is now operating at a national and international level. With this in mind, I would like to introduce fellow Perth Rotary member, Ray Simpson, who is the chair of the Rotary Path of Hope Western Australia Committee. Ray and his committee are the link between Perth Rotary and the Salvation Army in Western Australia, and he will tell you a little more about the Foundation's work within Western Australia. Thank you.
I first met Warren Palmer in 2008 in Western Australia. Please welcome Warren Palmer.
Thanks, Rebecca, and thanks for reminding me of how long ago it was that we first met. I'm not sure whether I had any grey hair there, but and I'm not sure what that says about the last 10 years of working together, Rebecca, but it has been a great experience and a great privilege, I've got to say, that we've had and I have had personally on behalf of the Salvation Army of working with the Rotary Club. So really, I guess briefly, I just want to share, I guess, a bit about the journey of Rotary and the Salvos from our perspective and what the experience has been from my perspective and really on behalf of the Salvation Army in working together with Rotary. I guess my experience with Rotary goes back right to the early days, probably about 20 years ago, in fact, when I started working for the Salvation Army. And part of my role was, and in those early stages, was to develop community relationships and with individuals and like-minded organisations to support our community fundraising for our Red Shield Appeal, which is the Salvation Army's main fundraising vehicle. And occasionally I get an opportunity and an invite to go to a Rotary function and speak about the work of the Salvation Army in the community. And very graciously, the Rotary Club would provide a donation and support our fundraising efforts in some way. I guess fast forwarding 10 years, almost 10 years, and I had the great privilege of meeting Rebecca back in 2008, as she reminded us, who was just starting out on her journey in following her very passionate heart in supporting those women and children who had experienced family and domestic violence. So our paths crossed, and together we started to explore what this might look like and the best way that Rebecca could drive support to our services and really targeting our greatest need in those services. In the meantime, Rebecca found the best vehicle to channel her passion, which was through Rotary, and subsequently this brought our two organisations together. I do recall still the initial presentation, Rebecca, that you presented it on behalf of the Rotary Club of Perth and to our board meeting of ours, and really started to generate some excitement and real endeavour as to what we can achieve together. And I guess from this point onwards, Rotary for me became more than just about an organisation that supported our community fundraising and our efforts, but really starting to understand the heart of Rotary and the common threads of values and ideals that we could weave together. The journey after this has taken on a really exhilarating ride, I think, in finding key projects that we can work together on, pulling together the power of Rotary and bringing together key influences, fundraising, volunteering, and opening up other opportunities as well. We identified projects such as redeveloping our key learning area for children who had experienced family and domestic violence, redeveloping a playground area, and eventually moving into into developing an outreach centre for us, which has enabled us to provide an externally faced service that allows us to reach out into the community and connect with those experiencing this issue, whilst they're still living in the community rather than being in our refuge. It's a model which has enabled us to pull together many specialised services into the one place, and also to help with being a key tool of education into the community as well. So the relationship, I guess, has started in that way, very much moulded around projects, but then the relationship in recent years has turned into supporting our capacity to resource this outreach centre. And this year, for the very first time, really excited to say that funds from the Rotary and the Path of Hope Foundation and the Gala Ball effectively will enable us to employ a second outreach worker based in the northwest of Western Australia in a place called Karratha, which is very remote and isolated, but has significant community issues, and one of which of those is FDV, or family and domestic violence. I guess really summing up, the relationship for me between Rotary and the Salvos has been a great success story here in Western Australia. Though we've done, through what we've done together, bringing together the strengths that both organisations have, I think we've been able to harness a greater capacity to bring comfort, safety, protection, healing and recovery to so many more lives of women and children right across our state. And this journey, we've taken has not been without its challenges. But what's important is that all of us through this process is that we continue to recognise that this battle we fight against family and domestic violence is bigger than both of us, both organisations, and it needs a working approach between each other and both together in shaping that relationship for the future. I am, and I know the Salvation Army is so very grateful for people such as Rebecca, her vision, Rotary and Jill and Ray for their belief and leadership and willingness to really get in that boat with us, row together, sometimes against the flow, and try and tackle this significant community issue of family and domestic violence. I guess one final comment on what I do know is that together we can achieve far more than being apart. So that's really, I guess, my final thought in this process is that together both of our organisations can achieve so much more when we work together constructively, harness together the strengths that we have, and we can achieve a great outcome for those individuals in the community that need our help the most. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Really do appreciate it. And the work that the Rotary do is just extraordinary, and we're just so privileged to be a part of that. So thank you. And with that, I'll hand the microphone back to Rebecca.
Ray Simpson is our champion and our chair for our Path of Hope Perth Rotary Western Australia initiative. Please welcome Ray.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Rebecca. My journey started with the Path of Hope about 6 years ago. Rebecca was looking at, she had already had a lot of programs for the refuge and family domestic violence. She looked at something that would give an annual fundraiser as well as increasing awareness. So we threw a lot of ideas around. It was always her idea of having some celebration of the women and the children getting through this domestic violence, as well as increasing awareness and this funding for these outreach workers. We finally eventually developed the theme of a gala ball each year, which we've held 4. We were to have our 5th for this year, but the coronavirus put that in its tracks, but we've still achieved a fantastic outcome with the support of our sponsors. So I've looked after, as a chartered accountant, looking after the finances, reviewing contracts and doing a lot of that background financial, as well as being quite active in committee meetings and organising it. Eventually, Rebecca has always had the idea of wanting to increase the scope of Path of Hope, not just in WA or Perth, but also nationally and internationally. And as we've heard, she has done a lot of work in doing that. She needed someone that would help to provide more on the ground in Perth and Western Australia. And she asked me to chair that committee, which is basically a representative of Path of Hope Foundation, Rotary Club of Perth and Salvation Army, which is basically Rebecca, myself and Warren. And that's achieved is also to have a far greater communication between the whole 3 bodies in working out what exactly Salvation Army need and tailoring. So we're focused on what they need, and we can focus our energies and tie things up so that we get the maximum outcome from everybody's efforts. So there's things like the funding, where the funding from the gala and other donations are going, and how that's being spent. Warren provides us with regular reports on their plans and progress on these different things, and we work out how we can help with that. We have a lot of volunteer applications from different people that want to help, dentists, legal people, counsellors, physios, even doing makeup and things like that. So they come to us, and we sort of again refer that to Warren and follow up with where how those volunteers are being used. One of our Rotarians, over the years, we've collected, our Rotary Club has collected gifts for the children and the mothers in the refuge. And the wife of one of our Rotarians has taken it on herself over the last few years and have a huge collection. She works for about 6 or 7 months of the year to collect toys, books, clothing, all sorts of different gifts which are presented to the Salvation Army at Christmas time. Again, we just, with Warren's help, we can fine-tune exactly what sort of things they need is the greatest benefit to the women and children. We've also talked about school children. The Salvation Army do have some involvement in the schools. Rotary obviously has its younger people, Interact and Rotaracts. And so we're also talking about how we can join forces in increasing that awareness basically at the school age level. The earlier you can educate about family domestic violence, the better you have a chance of stopping the cycle. And also just the awareness program. Just because we didn't have a gala ball, the social media and everything has not stopped. That has continued, and we work closely with the Salvation Army of what we're publicising in the media to make sure everybody is happy with the content, and we're hitting the nail on the head and achieving the best outcome. So that's what our little committee's been doing, and it's been working fantastically.
Gala Ball was cancelled this year, but what's happening next year?
Yes, we had great discussions about that. We left it as long as we could to determine whether we actually could even hold one this year, but then the government decided, they made the decision for us. We even looked at it later, but the plan is to definitely, we've still got a lot of interest, a lot of people that are very determined to have it next year. So we have actually even got another date in May next year that we're looking at. As I said, nothing stops. The gala is an event. It's a fantastic, I just, every year I'm just amazed at the skills that we have at our fingertips to be able to put together such a fantastic event that's not only raising funds, increasing awareness, but everybody has such a fantastic time. And I know last year a lot of our neighbours here went along to the ball, and and they just had a fantastic time, and it was such a great event. So I'm quite sure that we'll be back on track. We're already sort of having meetings, starting to plan for May next year.
That was going to be my question, was, has the Path of Hope, I know it's gone nationally and internationally, including the US. Will they know if I contact my local Rotary or Rotary clubs, we have more than one, will they know about this initiative, and or will they look at me like I'm crazy?
The Path of Hope Foundation is fairly transparent, and it's fairly findable. On, if the Rotary clubs didn't know about it, they could certainly research, and it would pop up pretty quickly. And it is endorsed, and they would feel confident in the program.
I would love to get connected. Absolutely. Locally, we're I've been here just a year. This week it's a year since I left Washington D.C., and we're working to start a human trafficking shelter. We're working together with another local nonprofit. They're providing some case management, but they don't have any housing. So we have a large facility here, and in fact, I just had a call yesterday with our divisional headquarters to start the process to offer part of our facility, and there's a secure area. It's perfect. It's just absolutely perfect to offer the housing piece for the group that's already doing some case management for human trafficking. So I'm excited about that. Very excited.
A question, but I suppose it's more of a statement. I think all Rotarians would agree that for a project to be successful, it needs a champion, and that champion is the overall driving force behind the committee. So it's certainly for the reason that the project is so successful with the Perth Rotary Club is due to your passion, and you energise our members to want to jump on board and participate in the program. So I think for Rotary clubs, that's probably the key at a local.
Echo what Jill said. Rebecca, you have been an amazing champion. I mean, literally going across, around the world to try to get this going. And I want to just congratulate you on the success of making it happen. It's fantastic.